Hi guys, welcome back to the Kopitiam Cabinet, where we recognize hot kopi as equally as we recognize hot pot. My name is Affizal. So, the big news. Singapore's Foreign Minister Vivian Balakrishnan said in his recent ministerial statement that Singapore may recognize Palestine one day when there is an effective government that accepts Israel's right to exist and categorically renounces terrorism.
We will recognize the state of Palestine when it has an effective government that accepts Israel's right to exist and categorically renounces terrorism.
I'll put the link to his full ministerial statement in the description below so you guys can have a deeper understanding. Right, Singapore has always voted in favor of UN resolutions supporting Palestine's rights, but has avoided full recognition until these constellations of factors are met. That's like SFA telling the coffee shop operator, "We'll let you open your stalls when you promise no mosquitoes, clean toilets, 5-star health rating, and you make perfect teh tarik." Meanwhile, the customers outside are starving. The most compelling line from the parliamentary debate is, "It's not if, but when Singapore will recognize Palestine." That's the Singaporean way of telling your girlfriend, "It's not if, but when I'll propose. After I finish reservist, after applying for BTO, then after wait for MOP, after I pay off my COE, and above all, my mother must say okay." Anyway, Singapore's recognition of Palestinian statehood is conditional. Conditions being a Palestinian government that is effective, accept Israel's right to exist, and categorically renounces terrorism. I agree with the government. Palestine must renounce terrorism. Let's read the facts from the ground in Gaza so far. Okay, this is from the Gaza Health Ministry, which is known to be reliable. Oh my goodness, what is this? This is horrible. More than 66,000 people killed in Gaza since October 2023. And about 83% of them are civilians, including women and children. 90% of homes in Gaza has been destroyed. Schools, hospitals, and critical infrastructures are all reduced to rubble. What kind of terrorism is this? Oh my goodness. So I agree with the government that Palestine must renounce terrorism. Why only Palestine? The whole world must renounce terrorism. Also, there's a chance that Singapore will reconsider its position to recognize Palestinian statehood if the situation deteriorates.
If the situation continues to deteriorate, or if Israel takes further steps to extinguish a two-state solution, we will reconsider our position on recognizing a Palestinian state.
Oh, apparently these facts are not deteriorating enough for us. We can just throw it out the window. Let's move on. Singapore also supports a two-state solution. This one also I agree with the government. A two-state solution is very Singaporean. Because even our electoral boundaries seems like two-state solutions. Among others, we have Bishan Toa Payoh, Holland Bukit Timah, Marsiling UT, Pasir Ris Changi. And I think you all know what happened when Marine Parade refused to recognize Bradel Heights during the GE 2025. Confusion until everyone there cannot even cast a single vote.
I don't think I've ever abandoned Marine Parade. It was a walkover. It was a walkover. It was a walkover. I said that 3 times. There's no abandonment here.
Relax lah bro. We believe you the first time. Nobody abandoned anybody there. Don't worry, don't worry. So, Parliament is saying, not if, but when Singapore recognises Palestine. But exactly by when? There's no ultimatum. When all the conditions are met, by when? By the next solar eclipse or something? When there is world peace and no terrorism? The bar for the when is so high, it's like saying to your girlfriend, I will marry you when cows fly. And your girlfriend will keep waiting for KFC to make beef burger with wings. Meanwhile, across the world, major nations like UK, Australia, Canada and Portugal are recognizing Palestine now. Maybe because their cows already can fly. But I understand our government's position. For Singapore, we are so grounded in practicality and we follow closely by the book. We are more likely to recognize Wakanda as a state earlier than Palestine.
Wakanda forever!
So here's the Kopitiam Cabinet's take on this. Singapore is trying not to look like it's sitting on the fence, but also not jumping off either. We are trying to walk a fine line, supporting Palestinians, maintaining good relations with Israel, not upsetting strategic trade and defense ties. This is foreign policy's equivalent of eating nasi lemak, while there's other reviews that say it's too spicy, but you die want to declare the nasi lemak as delicious. At the same time, you also don't want to get diarrhea, so you hide the sambal. Before I continue, do comment below what you guys think of Singapore's foreign policy in the Middle East. And as usual, hit the like button and share this video to show your solidarity. So naturally, during the debate, a number of supplementary questions were asked.
So what these other governments believe is recognizing the state of Palestine now will help to preserve the hope of that two-state solution. Is this something that Singapore would consider as well if it feels the actions of the Israeli government may be undermining the two-state solution?
Does the minister not agree that the prospects of having an effective Palestinian government in place, which is a precondition to Singapore recognizing the state of Palestine, is not a realistic precondition anymore?
The International Association of Genocide Scholars has declared that Israel's actions in Gaza are consistent with the legal definition of genocide. Will the government call Israel out for committing genocide? Thank you.
What specific principles are we upholding by not recognizing the state of Palestine forthwith? Shouldn't recognizing the state of Palestine be in our national interest?
The minister said that Singapore will recognize Palestine when it has an effective government that accepts Israel's right to exist and categorically renounces terrorism. But the Palestinian Authority has already made a commitment to renounce terrorism and carry out reforms. What additional steps does the PA need to take in order for Singapore to recognize the state of Palestine?
And has the government assessed whether Singapore is relatively over-invested in the Israel-Singapore relationship? And is it not time to diversify in our national interest?
And the answer to me that sums up everything for all the questions is this.
We know that anything Singapore says or does is not going to resolve the situation on the ground in the Middle East.
Power. Win already lah. Anything Singapore says or does is not going to resolve the situation in the Middle East. Which is true. I agree with the government. I agree with the government. I agree with the government. There, I said it 3 times. This has been the Kopitiam Cabinet. Until the next episode, may peace be upon all of you, including in Palestine. Singapore helping Palestinians with humanitarian aid, capacity building and technical assistance, that's the baby steps approach, which is commendable. But in this scenario, imagine you take a giant leap with your left leg and at the same time you take baby steps with your right leg. How to walk properly like that? So Singapore is saying not if but when Singapore recognizes Palestine. But exactly by when? There's no deadlines or ultimatum for both sides. When will Palestine meet all the conditions we set? It could take 3,000 years for all we know. And how about the other side of the equation? When will Israel stop deteriorating the situation? Another 3,000 years?